Who are the Haqqani Network, the most powerful group in the Taliban government? The Haqqani Network takes its name from the leader of the group, Jalaluddin Haqqani, who first fought the Soviet army in Afghanistan as a loyal ally of the CIA and the ISI, and then fought the US and NATO forces. The Haqqani Network has emerged as the most powerful group in the new Taliban government, with four of the clan nominated as cabinet members. The Haqqani network takes its name from the leader of the group, Jalaluddin Haqqani, who first fought the Soviet army in Afghanistan as a loyal ally of the CIA and the ISI, and then fought the US and NATO forces. While he led a protected existence in North Waziristan, where Pakistan gave him and the entire group safe haven. Jalaluddin's death was announced as having occurred of natural causes in September 2018, although it was rumored that he had died years before. The mantle passed to his son Sirajuddin Haqqani Network in Afghan cabinet. Sirajuddin Haqqani 48 is the new interior minister, an appointment that is a finger in the eye of the international community. He has been a UN designated global terrorist since 2007, and the FBI has a reward of $10 million for information leading to his arrest. No recent photographs exist of him. According to a 2010 report on the Haqqani network by US based think tank Institute for the Study of War, Sirajuddin's mother is an Arab woman who was the second wife of Jalaluddin Haqqani. She is said to be living in a Gulf country. The UN listing of Sirajuddin says he participated in the financing, planning, facilitating, preparing, or perpetrating of acts or activities by injunction with under the name of on behalf or in support of Taliban, Al Qaeda, and Jaish-e-Mohammed. It describes him as one of the most prominent, influential, charismatic, and experienced leaders within the Haqqani network, and has been one of the major operational commanders of the network since 2004. After the fall of the Taliban in 2001, Sirajuddin Haqqani took control of the Haqqani network and has since then led the group to the forefront of insurgent activities in Afghanistan. According to the listing, he derived much of his power and authority from Father Jalaluddin Haqqani, who was also listed and described as a go-between for Al Qaeda and Taliban on both sides of Afghanistan-Pakistan border. Sirajuddin Haqqani was involved in the suicide bombing attack against a police academy bus in Kabul on June 18, 2007, which killed 35 police officers. Khalil ul Rahman Haqqani, the uncle of Sirajuddin, who has been appointed the Minister for Refugees, was listed as a terrorist in 2011. The listing says he traveled to Gulf countries as well as in South and Southeast Asia to raise funds on behalf of the Taliban and the Haqqani network. He is said to have been one of several people responsible for the detention of prisoners captured by the Taliban and Haqqani network. The listing links him to Al Qaeda as well. Najibullah Haqqani, Minister for Communication, was listed in 2001. He had been a minister in the previous Taliban regime as well. First, the Deputy Minister for Public Works, the later Deputy Minister for Finance. He was militarily active until 2010. Sheikh Abdul Waki Haqqani, an associate of Jalaluddin Haqqani and the new Minister for Higher Education, is the only leader of the Haqqani network in the government who not designated by the UN Security Council. However, he has been sanctioned by the European Union. On being appointed the Shadow Minister for Education last month, he was reported as saying that while girls could study, all educational activities will take place according to Sharia. Haqqani network's deep roots in Afpak. Jalaluddin Haqqani, a Jadran tribesman from the Loya Paktika and coast area in eastern Afghanistan close to the border with Pakistan, was a member of the anti-communist, anti-Soviet Hizb-e-Islam and became active as Mujahideen in the 1970s. He is an alumnus of the Dar-ul Ulam Madrasa, also known as the Jihad Factory in Akhora Khatak in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. As the frontier of the Cold War came to Pakistan's door, he and several others trained in Pakistan for jihad. When the Soviet army arrived, he was among the CIA's trusted mujahideen. Charlie Wilson, the US senator who mustered money and weapons for the war, is said to have described him as a goodness personified. During this time, he forged deep ties with the ISI. From a base in North Waziristan, Jalaluddin ran guns and fighters for the jihad all through the 1980s. This is also the time when he met Osama bin Laden in Mirmamsa, the headquarters town of North Waziristan. While he received largely of the CIA and ISI, Haqqani is said to have also raised his own funds from wealthy Sikhs in Gulf countries and during his annual Hajj pilgrimage. Haqqani joined hands with the Taliban in 1995 and he and his men fought alongside the Islamist movement against the various warring factions of Mujahideen. When the Taliban captured Kabul in 1996, he became the Minister of Border and Tribal Affairs. The relationship between him and Mullah Umar was one of common interest, but it was hardly smooth, with Haqqani resentful of the prominence Mullah Umar gave to his inner circle from Kandahar. Haqqani Network Post 2001. After the ouster of the Taliban regime by the US and Allied forces in 2001, the Haqqani family fled to Pakistan, where they believed to have taken refuge in their old stronghold of Mirmamsa in North Waziristan. They were said to be running parallel administration there, taxing people and making money of construction contracts and investments in real estate in the area. Another source of income was from fundraising in the Gulf. Kidnapping for ransom was a major source of income and was smuggling timber from Afghanistan into Pakistan. In 2003, when Taliban began regrouping, the Haqqani clan was central to the efforts. By then, Sirajuddin had taken over to the operational aspects of Haqqani Network from his father Jalaluddin. Military observers credit much of the success of the Taliban to the Haqqani Network. The United States often urged Pakistan to do more to eliminate the Haqqani Network, but these efforts remain cosmetic. The Institute for the Study of War report mentioned earlier says the Pakistani army consistently refused to launch a military operation in North Waziristan despite the presence of the Al-Qaeda senior leadership there. Even while reporting directly to the Taliban Supreme Council, the Haqqani Network retained its own distinct identity. Operational capacity, Al-Qaeda ISIS connection. As recently as May this year, a UN report described Haqqani Network as Taliban's most combat-ready forces, a highly skilled core of members who specialize in complex attacks and provide technical skills such as improvised explosive devices and rocket construction. The Haqqani Network remains a hub for outreach and cooperation with regional foreign terrorist groups and is primary liaison between Taliban and Al-Qaeda. The report by the Taliban Sanctions Monitoring Committee also noted that one of member states had pointed to a link between Islamic State Khorasan province and the Haqqani Network, but the committee itself was unable to confirm this. The link centered on the leader of the ISI KP Sabab ul Majer, who may have also been previously a mid-level commander in the Haqqani Network. An earlier report of the committee had stated one member state suggested that certain attacks can be denied by the Taliban and claimed by ISIL-K, with it being unclear whether these attacks were purely orchestrated by the Haqqani Network or were joint ventures making use of ISIL-K operatives. Haqqani Network and India. The 2008 Indian embassy bombing, in which a senior diplomat and a military official posted at the embassy were killed among dozens others, mostly Afghan civilians, was blamed by US and Afghan intelligence on the Haqqani Network. The National Directorate of Security, the intelligence agency of the erstwhile Afghan government, had provided communication intercepts to Indian authorities that pointed to the Haqqani involvement, alleged that with ISI support. A similar claim was made by the CIA. Other reports pointed to a Lashkar-e-Taiba involvement with support from the Haqqani Network. The Haqqani Network is also said to have behind the attacks on Indian construction workers in Afghanistan in the years 2009-2012. The group's long relationship with the loyalty to the ISI make it an invaluable asset for Pakistan, according to security official. There is considerable disquiet in the Indian security establishment that Sirajuddin Haqqani is a member of the new government of Afghanistan. Thank you.